beautiful, nerdy internet. I am hanging out here at King's Tabletop Lounge with my friend Greg, and we are here painting miniatures.
Yes, I'm really excited to help you out with that.
Yes, it has been a long time since I painted anything, but for this new campaign that we just started with some friends, it's actually called the Masters Guild, and we're streaming it on Twitch on Tuesday evenings at 6?
6 Pacific time, so.
And we also have a YouTube channel, so feel free to go check out that YouTube channel. But I am playing a druid for the very first time in this particular campaign, and so that means I have wild shape, and I can turn into things. So I am hanging out painting some minis, and Greg is helping me out because it's been a long time since I painted anything.
We're here over at King's Table in Redding, California. Just kind of chilling. It's a Monday, so it's kind of low traffic at the moment as the store just opened not too long ago. So we thought we'd take advantage of the quiet space and do some painting.
So if you hear the doorbell go ding dong, that's what's going on.
So no worries there. So kind of we were kind of picking our colors on what we were wanting to do. And with your spider in particular, we're going to be picking the base colors first and getting everything kind of mapped out for her.
We were thinking about doing a purple. What is this even called? Whoa, how do you pronounce that?
Nagaroth?
Nagaroth Knight. Purple, and
it's
then
Citadel painting.
Contrast it with a stylish purple.
So doing a 3-to-1 ratio with the Nagaroth being the 3 and the contrast paint being a 1. So mixing that together to start off the coat, maybe doing 2 coats, depends on how well it goes on and accepts. These particular minis come pre-painted with primer on them so that you don't have to prime them yourself.
Here's what it might end up looking like, but we'll see.
Kind of, yeah. But sometimes I've noticed that the pre-primed ones don't usually take too well to paint, and usually you'll need 2 to 3 coats, just depending. So hopefully that won't be the case. And then I am finishing up a base for a kraken. So there's a kraken that rises from the ocean, and I am doing highlighting and going to be creating wave crashes and stuff on this.
That's gonna look really cool when it's done.
Yeah, totally. So let's get to mixing real quick.
And we're also gonna just be hanging out talking about nerd stuff in general. So if you're not interested in miniature painting, we're gonna just be having general nerdy conversation as well. So yeah. So
I think it might be pretty good to discuss like, why are we even painting these things? Like, what is it about Dungeons and Dragons that we like so much?
I don't think
I don't even know. How did you get into D&D? Like, that's probably a conversation we haven't had.
That is true, but I cannot talk and pour paint at the same time. I'm really nervous about this.
Okay. Wait, no, you don't want to paint. No, you don't want to do that.
I don't want to do that.
You want to put the paintbrush into it, and then you're gonna just dab off to the side.
It? Okay. Like
there you go. That's a lot. Okay, go ahead and wash that off.
I've never mixed miniature paints before.
Okay, yeah, and then just dry it off, and then you're gonna get the
other
other one.
I'm gonna close this before I spill it, you guys. Okay.
All right, this one you don't have to be as careful because this is gonna be the primary. So then you're gonna. Did you shake it?
No.
You gotta shake it first.
Tell me to shake it.
All of you that have ever painted anything in your entire life,
yes,
you're supposed to shake the paint.
Shaking the paint. Okay. So I got into Dungeons and Dragons. I can answer the question now. By watching Critical Role, actually. On Geek and Sundry, when it was originally on Geek and Sundry, I found it on YouTube. I was just scrolling through YouTube and it popped up and I started watching it and I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. So my husband and I ran to the bookstore and we bought all the Dungeons and Dragons books. We got the Player's Handbook, the Monster's Manual. Well, we didn't buy every single book, obviously, but we bought the main ones. And the Dungeon Master's Guide. And so we started like our own little home game, not really knowing what we were doing. But then I met Alex Daly, actually the owner of King's Tabletop Lounge, the store that we're at, on the internet. And he was like, oh my gosh, come over and play Dungeons and Dragons with us if you love Dungeons and Dragons. And I was like, okay, sure. So I came over, and then the rest is history. Now I have this crazy, awesome, amalgamous mass of Dungeons and Dragons loving friends that I hang out with all the time.
Wow. So I had no idea that you you just went for it the moment you saw it online. That's cool.
Yeah. How is my mixing? That's not mixed?
Oh, you're gonna need a little bit more than that.
More purple.
Yeah.
Okay, so
more,
it's 3-1. So
yeah,
like
yeah.
three dabbies.
Yeah.
Okay.
That should be enough. And then you're gonna mix that together. You're gonna put a little bit of water in there as well.
Okay. Yes. So my first ever character was a bard. And she might have gotten her arm bitten off by something. Dude, it's been a theme in my Dungeons & Dragons games where my arms get bitten off or ripped off. It's been a thing.
So what you're saying is you should have been playing in a Star Wars campaign.
Yeah, dude, I played a Starfinder campaign once. It was pretty amazing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Was it just a one-shot, or did you actually play in it?
It felt like a one-shot, but it was actually consecutive times. But I think each time like had a different storyline, and like nothing picked up where anything left off, but it was like a consecutive Starfinder
Okay.
game. How did you get into Dungeons? How long have you been playing Dungeons and Dragons?
I've been playing for about 3 years now.
Look at that purple. That's a cool purple color.
That is
you
a
guys.
nice.
Oh my gosh.
That's a nice color.
That's
yeah.
a nice color.
And you just want to spread that around, so don't let it
Everywhere.
glob.
Okay.
It's okay if there's brush marks on the first one.
Okay.
It's actually still a little too thick. You're gonna
Oh.
want to get just a
Some
little
more water?
bit in and mix it in with the paint. There you go.
I mean,
And then just
oh my gosh. This is
spread
gonna
it around.
Everywhere. Even
Yeah,
all over the
it's
legs
gonna
and
look. It's
everything?
gonna be very good. Yeah, you're gonna put that on
Okay.
the entire model. And so yeah, I've been playing for about 3 years.
Okay.
I actually got started in Dungeons and Dragons by painting.
Oh, okay.
So I went into the local game stores and I started seeing models and figures of like 40K and Dungeons and Dragons models and things. And I, at the time, was like, I need a hobby because I was bored during the summer about 3 years ago. I had no friends around in the local area because I
my
had
gosh.
moved to Reading, and if nobody
Reading is
knows,
tiny.
it's very tiny.
It's a tiny town, and there's not a lot of nerdy people unless you know where to look for them. It's really hard to find,
Yep.
or at least for me, it was really, really hard to find nerdy people until I started hanging out at my local game stores and playing Dungeons and Dragons. But anyway,
And then we
yeah.
found them.
And then we found them, and then we all found each other, and now we hang out all the time. Anyway, continue.
So yeah, I went to local game stores and was asking for advice and ideas on how to become a better painter because everybody's first paint job is kind of not very good, and so I was discouraged at first.
Your camera's not on over here, by the way.
Oh, I know, it's fine.
Oh, okay.
I was discouraged at first because of how bad I was. But then after taking advice and looking on YouTube and kind of figuring it out on my own, I started getting much, much better. And I've, from there is where I met people that played Dungeons and Dragons, and they're like, you should really try it because you have a good personality and I think you'd really enjoy the role-playing part of it. And I have not regretted a single moment. It has all been amazing.
Even the time when you shot my fingers off, you don't regret that?
No, not really. She's referring to our last session,
Our session
we
before the time.
did a one shot, and in it she picked up a curse item and she wasn't able to let go.
I didn't realize it was cursed.
I
It
tried to
just kind of
fillet her
fell
hand
off a
off.
shelf.
Can we even say this online? I don't even know.
Yeah, we can say it fell off a shelf in front of me, and I was like, "Oh, I'll pick that back up." And apparently, it was a cursed item, and bad things happened, and then it like got stuck to my hand, and then
She was unconscious. I was trying to save her life.
I went unconscious, and then she decided to chop my fingers off to get it off my hand. Yeah.
It's a perfectly logical thing to do.
Anyway, good times. Go watch the Masters Guild.
Great plug. Great plug indeed.
So, what kind of things are you passionate about, and how does like your passions tie into playing Dungeons and Dragons?
Well, so for me personally, I am a coach. I have been a coach for middle school sports for about 3.5 years, and even before then, I did other types of like public speaking jobs where I was helping people to get comfortable in front of others and things of that nature. And I've always, at a very young age, been very much into helping people succeed when they don't think they can. And so
That's awesome.
it really felt kind of natural for me when about 3 years ago when I started playing Dungeons and Dragons to become a DM and kind of teach people how to play. After, of course, I read everything under the sun and thought I knew everything that there was. And obviously, if you have ever tried dungeon mastering because you have friends that don't want to do it, you will find out very quickly you don't know what you're doing.
It's a lot. It's so intimidating. I actually just started dungeon mastering myself for a little home campaign that I'm running with some friends, and oh my gosh, it's so much to think about, like the story and all the rules and how to keep everybody engaged, and like it's a lot, you guys.
A lot of multitasking. I love doing that.
Math, all the math.
Oh yeah, for sure. So yeah, I took one of my biggest passions, which is teaching and kind of helping people realize their capabilities, and I was able to kind of incorporate that into the community of Dungeons and Dragons and whatnot, and it's been really, really fun. I've taught many people how to paint personally, just like you know, they didn't want to be you know, the best painter in the world. They just wanted to be able to paint like 1 or 2 minis on their own, and showing them how easy it actually is to get into painting, and also Dungeons and Dragons just in general, has been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed this community. It's great. It's very easygoing. Very easygoing. What about you? What is some of the things that you're kind of passionate about?
I think, well, I have a big passion for like imagination and creativity as well, because I think that people who can imagine and people who can like dream and create things in their minds are the people that change the world one day. And so like I'm super passionate about creating things that don't exist already and imagining and dreaming, and Dungeons and Dragons just plays right into that because you create a whole world with your friends. And I think that was actually Dungeons and Dragons was the first time, because like I had always been really imaginative and like written down my own stories and stuff in my head, but Dungeons and Dragons was the first time that I was like fully creating and imagining and building a world with other people. And it was such a cool moment. And I think it was like one of the first times that my imagination was actually like, I felt like it was recognized by other people, you know, in a way, and that like I was really like acknowledged in that space, you know, in the space of being able to imagine and create and dream and make stories, you know, with other people. And people just like accepted things that I made up. Like I made up this whole library and people were like, okay, that's a thing now, like, you know, in our world. And I was just like, what is this? Is cool. Like, this is so cool. Like, you know?
Yeah, like I said, it's very accepting. Like the community is really, really accepting, and I didn't find that in a lot of different communities.
Yeah.
So it's always been really nice to be a part of it, for sure. I remember first meeting you was hilarious because I'm sitting in the GameStop or the game store here at King's, and I'm painting. I don't even remember what I was painting. I paint so much
painting
stuff.
Something with like multiple faces and like blood dripping down it and teeth.
Oh, I was painting a bone golem. That's what it was. It was a bone golem. And it was kind of a test run for me as a bone golem because I had never done a very fleshy type creature, and so I was experimenting with some stuff, and you came over and you were like, oh my gosh, what are you doing? I was like, who is this person? They're getting in my personal space. But at the same time, it's like, it's so easy to do because most people that create things, they just mesh really well. And we talked for like an hour while I was painting, just about like creating models.
Hang on, I need to actually get some more paint because I am running out of paint. How's it going?
Could be better.
Here's how it looks so far.
It's getting there.
It's
getting there.
It's getting there.
It's coming along. So with this one, you're gonna want to, yeah, just a little bit. You can spread all this out. Like
Okay.
this can get spread a little bit more before getting more paint in there.
Okay.
So don't be afraid to go back over spots. Like,
Okay.
because it's gonna give the brush marks on the first coat, like I said before,
Yeah.
you're gonna be doing a second coat. So
Okay.
you don't need to worry about the brush marks
Okay.
because they're gonna go out from the second coat. So,
All right. I'll spread it around some more.
and then go ahead and mix again.
Okay. All right. I am mixing some paint and then I'll be able to concentrate on what I'm talking about.
So for me right now, I'm trying to give depth to, it's hard to tell from the video or from this, but you can see, I'm trying to give depth to how deep the water is right now. And so what I'm doing is I'm putting a very light coat of a dark green, and I'm watering it down and putting it into the crevices, so that when it is finally highlighted with the white caressing waves, you can see the contrast between the white, the green, and the blue. And it's really gonna make the whole model pop. But of course, you don't notice those small details until after you've painted the whole thing. So it might be a while for me.
Here, we're still going for it. It's looking pretty good.
It's getting there, and it's gonna be a lot darker than that when we
Okay.
finish with it too. So like
Okay.
that purple is gonna be looking a lot more black,
Okay.
and it is going to definitely
Very ominous.
very, very
I'm
ominous.
gonna
for
be the
sure.
ominousest spider when I transform into spiders and go after people.
Yeah, people don't realize that when they do their first coats, they're like, oh my gosh, this looks so bad already. I want to just give up. The reality is usually the first coat looks awful because it's just the beginning of getting everything layered, because real good paint work is in the layering process. It's not the first coat that determines everything. It's actually the third to fourth to fifth coat that actually is the deciding factor between a good and a bad paint job.
You know what? I kind of feel like life is in the layering process too. If you think about it.
A little bit, yeah.
Anything, stories, like anything you write, anything you do, anything you create, anything you build is all in the layering of things.
And sometimes certain layers take a lot longer than others.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say that.
Yeah, and sometimes you need to grow and build, and I don't know. That just felt very profound for me. I'm like, everything is layers. Everything is layers.
Including
Not just
ogres.
art. Including ogres?
Ogres are layers. Sorry, it's very corny, I get it. But you can already tell, like you can see
That's looking
the
amazing.
interesting, like the small things of the depth right here.
That is looking really awesome.
I really wish we had a better high quality or camera to show you guys the small details, but you will only be able to see it once the model is completely finished.
So, this is my first coat. I finished it. I'm working on coat number 2. How is your wave coming over there?
I'm just now starting on the waves, and you can kind of see just a little bit right here of the different depths. There it is. You can kind of see it. So it's important to kind of spread out and do some dry brushing on it so that it looks more together on the caresses.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I love that white. Oh my gosh. That's awesome. That's looking really great.
Thanks.
So, like, how do you stay motivated to create as a creative person?
That is the question, I think, for a lot of people that create things, whether it's artistry, painting, or people that are in industries where they're constantly having to perform in their art. It can be very difficult, like music artists and so on. It can, for me personally, the way I stay motivated is by staying plugged in with other artists. And that doesn't mean like personally with those artists, but watching other people create things gives me a motivation to go, I can do that. I can do something similar, or I have this idea, and that just sparked the thing that's going to be able to finish that idea. And so for me, it's not closing myself in a closet like I like to do and, curl up with a blanket and say I'm tired and not want to do anything, but instead force myself to kind of like connect with some artists and look at their stuff.
What you're saying about connecting with other artists, because I haven't posted anything to my YouTube channel, honestly, in the past 6 weeks, maybe? It's been a while, you guys. It's been a while.
Nice.
Just because I needed a break and I was burnt out and exhausted. And then Greg, after our D&D session the other day, was like, dude, let's make a video. Let's paint some stuff. I was like, okay, sure. And now we're making a video. So, hey, it's getting me back into YouTube, connecting with other artists, connecting with other creative people, getting me back into YouTube, getting me back into doing things that I love to do. So
It's a must.
Totally,
It's a must.
totally. Connecting with other people is awesome.
What did you, when did you like find out that you were like pretty creative and that you wanted to make things and make content and stuff?
Ooh.
Was that at like at a really young age? Because for me, it wasn't until I was in my 20s, like that I actually realized I need to be making things in order to stay sane.
Yeah. Dude, that's an interesting question. I think for me it was a whole bunch of layers and levels of figuring it out. Does that make sense? Because I think, like, when I was a kid, I loved making things and crafting things and stuff, but it was just kind of looked at as like a little kid thing, like, oh, look at the little kid, like, drawing things or whatever, and it wasn't really recognized that, oh, she's really creative, she loves doing this, this is probably gonna be her thing one day, is creating things and making things. And I actually had to figure that out for myself throughout my life, and just figuring out actually how deep does the love of making things go, and it's just been a journey of like, oh no, this isn't just a hobby, this isn't just something that I kind of do sometimes for fun, this is actually like what I was born to do, is make things, so make things, write things, build things, create things, imagine things, so it has been a journey and an adventure, just figuring myself out. And yeah.
Did you have a lot of support from people that were like family or friends or at all growing up, or?
It didn't feel that way creatively. No, it didn't feel that way. It didn't feel like I was in an environments where creativity was really honored and respected and valued, Other things were valued, like getting a college degree and getting a good job, and like, things like that were valued, but like being creative was kind of looked at as like, oh, you're just playing around.
I've noticed that that's kind of a sentiment within college degrees as well. Like people that go for art degrees, they're kind of looked down upon as like less than degrees than other people's. And it definitely deterred me from getting any type of art degrees. But I'm a dropout from college, so who cares?
So yeah. So you said you didn't figure out you were like a creative person until you were in your 20s. Like what sparked that? Figuring it out, what sparked that adventure for you?
Photography, actually. Like when I was going through some really rough times about 4 or 5 years ago, and I needed some creative outlets, or I needed some type of outlet, because it just was getting overwhelming emotionally, and I realized that like being outdoors was something that I needed to do on a weekly basis. And so once I started getting outside, I was like, actually, I want to start doing photography. I want to start like capturing these moments that are giving my anxiety a reason not to flare anymore. And so I started doing that. I started going to people's weddings and bringing my camera and just being like, I'm gonna make them a free like disc. And so I found myself, you know, sitting at a computer desk, editing photos and doing like small like videos and things, and realizing how much I actually enjoyed it.
That's awesome.
Kind of gave me more breath into the realm of like, wow, I actually feel like I'm more alive when I'm making things than I ever have been before. And it definitely is a stress reliever for me.
So I love that like you went to people's weddings and like made them free stuff just because you love to create and you were figuring yourself out and figuring out who you were.
Yeah. It also helped that I was completely broke and had no way of giving them a wedding gift, so then I just made them a a photo thing, and they were like, oh my gosh, this is the best wedding gift. I'm like, yes, cheap. So there's that.
Look, my spider, it's like not streaky anymore.
Yep, and this is all it takes. Literally 2 coats of paint, and it is already looking 10 times better.
All right, I have missed spots. I've missed like down in the crevice in there. It's really hard to get into.
Yeah, it can be really frustrating sometimes. So what I'm doing right now is what they call edging, and kind of...
You should show the camera what you're doing right now, because that is pretty freaking cool.
So this is obviously the side that isn't done, but then you come over and you see the water is now crusted, and you can actually tell that it does look like ocean water, and that is crusting over the edge and stuff, and it looks really, really good. So
I think it looks amazing. I'm very excited about this. I can't wait to see what is coming out of it. A kraken?
Yeah.
I can't wait to see the kraken. I don't think I've seen the kraken yet.
Nope, I've been hiding it at my house so people don't see it. And
he's also a dungeon master, so he's probably just gonna hide it until he like throws it on the table and sends everybody screaming and running.
One day.
Swimming and yeah.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
Just pick up another boat and throw it at their boat. It'd be great.
Oh my goodness.
I had a DM do that to me. So
Throw a boat at you?
yeah, he threw a boat at us using a kraken.
Dude, that's epic.
Yeah, it was pretty ridiculous.
That's so epic. Did you guys all die? What happened?
The boat sank.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep. It was a very interesting runaway session.
Oh, those
Yeah.
sessions. Anyway, you guys, this is pretty much done. For the first 2 base coats, but we are going to continue this video over on our Masters Guild channel, where we're going to put more details on this guy. I'm going to do the eyeballs, and I'm going to do the rib cage and the details, and Greg is probably going to talk more in detail about painting.
Yeah, more of like a instructional video over at the Masters Guild on how to really make your models step up from, just I painted it purple, black, and green, to it has shading, it has, very intricate layering and coloring without a lot of effort or work, and it doesn't take that much more time to do. Like, it adds maybe like 20 minutes to your overall time of creating it, and it makes a worlds of difference. So definitely be looking out for that video coming soon.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching and hanging out with us just while we chatted about nerdy stuff and painted, and I love you guys so freaking much. And I'll see you in the next video.
Bye.
Bye.